Right, so we're back reviewing The Amazing Spider-Man. This time, it's issue 27. And you know what? This book is actually refreshing. And to be honest, apart from the stuff that carried over from the last book, it genuinely is just a light-hearted Spider-Man story. And it's so nice to finally just see that again. But let me explain why. But first, only 15% of you are actually subscribed, and you clicked on this video, which means you are a Spider-Man fan, so subscribe. You won't regret it, I promise. Anyway, let's go. So we kick off this comic with Peter and Felicia kicking ass, and this is what I mean. This is pretty fun. Black Cat and Peter being together has actually really grew on me, you know, and Felicia not being in the recent issues has actually made me kind of miss the witty banter that these two have with each other. I actually really like these two characters together, and yeah, obviously their relationship won't last. This is comic books after all, but I'm glad that we get to see more of them here. I'm glad that they're together. They actually make a really great couple. Like, if I wanted two characters to be together that weren't MJ and Peter, it would be Felicia and Peter, and I think they are long overdue a relationship in the comics, so I think this is good here. Also, thank Jesus Christ, Romita Jr. is off this book. Right, okay, I want to make one thing clear. Romita Jr. has done some of the greatest things for Spider-Man and the comic books, and some of the greatest pieces of art for the character. He is one of the legendary artists in the game. But Jesus Christ, were his drawings getting bad. Like, really bad. Ed McGuinness here has done an incredible job with this issue. And, you know what, he should be the main artist on this run. Because, it's easy on the eye. And it looks nice. And somehow he made the Osborn suit actually look good. Like, look how good this looks. How can you make this suit look any good? This suit is trash. Look at it. To be honest with you, I didn't know in any angle it was possible for this suit to actually look this good and actually work, but it actually does. And I'm not going to lie, I think it looks really cool. I think it looks sick. As Kat and Peter are beating Shocker, we actually get a sense that Peter is angry, and it is actually revealed that the death of Kamala Khan looms over him, and I'm glad it does. One thing that I was actually scared of was that I thought that Kamala's death would be looked over, even though I never wanted it to happen in the first place, because let's be honest, it was the stupidest thing they could have done. I'm actually glad that it has some impact on the story going forward. They could have easily forgot about Kamala here as easily as they ignored her in the first half of the run. Because if you guys remember, Kamala in this run has appeared a grand total of about 4 or 5 times, and they expect her death in this book to matter. Anyway, that was an issue for the last video. If you want to see my thoughts on Kamala's death, go watch the last video on the run, because I can't get into it here. We also then catch up with Norman Osborn. Now, I just want to say, they're totally setting up the Green Goblin again. Like, they ain't even trying to be slick about it either. So basically, this is where the Gold Goblin comics, yes, you heard me right, cross over with the mainline Spider-Man comic line. Essentially, from what I gathered, is that Norman was fighting the Queen Goblin in the Gold Goblin comics. And basically, he ended up killing her. Norman seems really affected by this, and they are basically playing on the psychological torment of Norman becoming the Goblin again. They're basically playing on this idea that Norman's main fear this whole run is that he's scared of becoming the Green Goblin again. And this is just planting the seeds for his return. As much as I hate Norman being a good guy, at least it looks like they're getting his descent right. Like, one day, if Norman just turned around and became the Goblin again, it would be so much worse than what they're doing now. At least they're building it up, and they've been planting the seeds for a while. So, you know what, this gets a thumbs up from me. I actually really like this. Then we get to the worst scene in the entire book. So it hasn't been so bad so far, but why does Peter have Kamala's mask? I get they were friends, but surely her family would have it, right? Not only does this not make any sense, wouldn't Peter want her family to have it? What does everyone else think of him stealing her mask? Like, what? I know what they were trying to do, like the whole, oh, this reminds Peter of Kamala, but her mask? She just died, man. Like, Peter, you ain't even that close to her. Anyway, let's move on before I get too mad. Then we get introduced to the Octobot and Doc Ock, and we get introduced to the next couple of issues' villain. Essentially, we get the whole monologue updating us on what Ock has been up to since earlier in the run, where the Sinister Six were captured by the Living Brain. Basically, he's being a villain, that's all you need to know. Villain stuff is happening, and he's monologuing. He's doing villain stuff. He wants to kill Spider-Man, basically. That's just, you know, it's Doc Ock, right? But I have a gripe with Doc Ock here. And I know that I've talked about this before, but I just want to quickly go over some of the issues I have with Doc Ock showing up in this issue. You see, Superior Spider-Man really put Ock in a weird place, because comics never really stay the same for too long. I think that's just common knowledge, right? Doc Ock was always going to become a villain again, but it was the way that they regressed his character to do so. The very bare bones of everything you need to know was that Ock's mind basically is reversed back to how it was. Since Superior, he became a robot, and then even he became a clone of Peter, but now he's back to OG Ock. But the weird thing is that he's gonna become Superior Spider-Man again. Dan Slott is back writing too. It's all really confusing and convoluted, but this is why I keep saying that we need new villains for Spider-Man. You can't just keep using the old ones, because you end up ruining character arcs like Superior Spider-Man. I get that old villains are cool and they sell, but at the end of the day, you've just undone an incredible story where a villain of 50 plus years turns good. Like, it was an incredible story. Like, I don't know what to say. Why undo that? Why? Seeing Ock again in his original form in the mainline continuity is just downright a bummer, because it makes it feel like everything that came before to line up for this moment just didn't mean anything whatsoever. And maybe this is a problem with comics in general, but yeah, that's my gripe with Doc Ock here. We then actually get a really nice moment with Peter and Norman. Basically, Peter is sympathizing with Norman, and he doesn't want him to turn. Once again, setting up his fall towards becoming the Goblin again. It's plain and simple. It's also revealed then that Queen Goblin isn't actually dead, and in fact, it looks like she will be coming to the mainline books at some point to be an antagonist for both Norman and Peter. I'm also convinced that she'll play a massive role in bringing Norman back to becoming the Goblin, so I'm actually excited to see how that's executed. We then cut to J. Jonah Jameson, and he's complaining about how the press made him look bad earlier in the series, when the destroyed Octobot shows up at the door, and it looks like it's asking for Jameson's help, in which we end on a cliffhanger and a to be continued. We know that Octobot has its own consciousness, so I'm actually really excited to see how they handle this story going forward. But once again, Doc Ock is a villain. I'm not on board. But overall, yeah, it's a Spider-Man book. I don't really have anything overly negative to say about it, apart from that one scene with Peter, which we shall not disclose. Every character is written in character. But I noticed that I don't think Zeb Wells is actually a bad writer that everyone recently makes him out to be. And I know that might sound mad, because everyone has been basically taking a massive dump over Zeb Wells over the last year or so, but this issue was fine. As soon as we stepped away from the Paul, Rabin, and Mary Jane stuff, it all genuinely is okay. I just think it was that was atrociously bad. Like, yeah, I get that Zeb Wells wrote those characters and he even created Paul. Like, that is his creation. But once that story was done, and once that whole Mary Jane, Peter Parker story that was going on for 20 plus issues is done, this is actually okay. This is Zeb Wells writing Spider-Man just as Spider-Man is. This is just Spider-Man. And yeah, I know I have my issues with Norman being a good guy, and I have my issues with Doc Ock, but I can totally see that the story is heading in a decent direction, and they're actually executing it pretty well at the moment. So yeah, this one is putting us back on the right track, until Paul shows up again. Either way, thank you guys for watching this video. If you did enjoy, make sure to like on it, and also make sure to subscribe. Like I said at the start of the video, only 15% of you are subscribed. So subscribe, because this is a Spider-Man channel, and let's try and hit 30k by the end of the year. I know I said it. This is the first time I'm saying it. Let's do it. 30k by the end of the year. Let's do it. I want a goal. 30k. Let's do it. Also, by the way, if you want to support the channel and, you love me as a content creator, then the best way to do that is to get the membership for 99p a month. You can get every single video I post early, but for £2.99, you also get exclusive content, in which I'm going to be making a flash video for members only for the upper tier very, very soon. So if you want to see my thoughts on the Flash, then make sure to get that upper tier. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care, and peace.